أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today we are going to discuss status of women in Islam. In this session we will give a brief introduction to the topic. This is unit number 4, status of women in Islam. Women in Islam. Islam has guaranteed equal rights to men and women, and men and women, they are equal in God's sight, and they are expected to fulfill the same duties of worship, prayer, faith, alms giving, fasting, and pilgrimage to Makkah. And in Islam, the status of women constitutes no problem. And the attitude of the Quran and the Muslims, it bear witness to the fact that women is at least as vital to life as man himself. And she is not inferior to him, nor is she one of the lower species. And Islam has improved the status of women, that it has prohibited female infanticide and recognizing women as full personhood. That it has guaranteed the rights to women, as it was a practice that women were not given their due rights in the pre-Islamic era. Even in some cultures, there was a practice of female infanticide. That the female child, they were buried alive, and when Islam came, it prohibited this inhuman practice and recognized the women as full personhood. The status of women was taken for granted to be equal to that of men. It was a matter of course, a matter of fact, and no one then considered it as a problem at all. And Islam has given women rights and privileges which she has never enjoyed under the other religious or constitutional systems. The rights and responsibilities of a women are equal to those of men, but they are not necessarily identical to them. And there is a distinction between equality and sameness. That is of paramount importance. And equality is desirable, it is just, it is fair, but sameness is not. People are not created identical, but they are created equals. With the distinction in mind, there is no room to imagine that woman is inferior to man. There is no ground to assume that woman is less important than man, because her rights are not identically the same as his. A woman in many societies is still denied her fundamental rights enjoyed by the male population. And the West has projected the Muslim women as being oppressed and backward. On the contrary, Islam is the only religion which has given the status to women really ever known before. The Holy Quran, sacred scriptures of Islam, incorporate countless teachings which apply to both men and women alike. The moral, spiritual, economic equality of men and women as propagated by Islam is unquestionable. Women before the advent of Islam, let us discuss certain instances. What was the status of women before Islam? In Arab culture before Islam, women were treated very badly, and they had to go extreme of humiliations. And They were not given their share in inheritance both from parents and spouses. They were treated as material things, as a commodity. Men could marry as many women as they wanted to. There was no rules in this regard. And women did not have the right to choose their husband, not to consult any woman in this regard. Mostly fathers, uh, they were horrified at birth of the female child, as Quran says, and when one of them informed the birth of a female, his face became dark and he suppresses grief. He hides himself from the people because of the ill which he has been informed. That it was regarded as a bad omen to have a female child. And similar was the case in Hindu cultures, in Chinese cultures, and in Greek cultures. Women were regarded as the embodiment of evil. It was regarded the source of evil, and the women were not given due rights, respect, dignity in these cultures. And when Islam came, it was the first religion, and it is not an overstatement. This is first religion. Islam is the first religion that it offered a system for the protection and well-being of women and their rights. And this system is absolutely perfect. It offers her dignity, respect, and equal status as man. In the Holy Quran, Allah Almighty instructs us, both men and women, regarding their role, responsibilities, and duties. There are numerous teachings which are instructive for both men and women. And Quran provides the guidelines for the protection of chastity to both men and women. And Islam has paid attention to all details regarding the role of women in society, their relationship with men as mothers, sisters, daughters, and wives. It provides a charter of rules and regulations to make sure that women are protected and their rights are safeguarded. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, "It is He who created you from one soul, and created from it is made that He might dwell in security with her." It is clear that Islam has paid a greater emphasis on the rights of women, her protection, her dignity, her chastity has been safeguarded with the coming of Islam, with the advent of Islam. He has the right to choose her husband, he has the right to inheritance, he has the right to own, to sell her property, and he has every other right which the man have in Islam. And in this session, we have a brief account of status of Islam, and then in the next session, we are going to discuss the role a woman plays in the form of mother, sister, daughter, and wife. These are the four prominent roles a mother plays in society, as a woman plays in society as a mother, a sister, a daughter, and a wife. This would be taken in a separate session to see what is the role of mother, what is the role of women as mother and as sister and daughter and wives. And inshallah, in the next session, we will be going to discuss their roles as mother, sister, daughters, and wives. Inshallah, till then, fi amanillah, ila liqa.